Okay, so we're meeting for Lalita Sahasranama session. And good morning to everyone. Namaste ji. And we've got Sapna, we've got Jitenji, Devashish ji. How's everyone?
Not bad, okay.
I love the background, the red flowers. They're so good. Do you know which flowers they are?
Dahlias, couple of years ago,
Ah, dahlia.
from our front lawn
Okay,
garden. Yeah.
very nice. Right, so because in the meditation they mentioned hibiscus flowers, which I think are supposed to be red as well, but I don't actually know what a hibiscus flower looks like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When we were in school, we had to dissect a hibiscus flower and
Oh, wow. Okay.
learn about that stuff. Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll try and share it with you at some
That
point.
would be great.
Hibiscus,
Thank you.
hibiscus.
Amazing. Because when we do the
Yeah,
meditation,
yeah. Go on.
oh, I was just saying, when we're going to do the meditation, if you listen, at one point he says, like, I think it's a forest of hibiscus trees or flowers or something. It's part of the Lalita Sahasranama. There's I'm not sure what it is in Sanskrit. Let's see. I can probably tell you.
If you can let me do a screen share, I'll show
Yeah,
you what a hibiscus flower looks like.
that would be great. Um, Let me see how to allow you to do it. Um, so you can't do it right now, is that right?
You have disabled host disabled participant screen share.
Oh, okay. Um, okay, yeah, I've done it. Hopefully now you can do it.
Right, okay. Yeah, it's pretty. There it is.
Ah, thank you. That's beautiful.
Mm. So this is good for botany studies because of the pollens and the petals and sepals and all that. So we
Okay.
used to have it in biology class,
Oh,
class six, year six, seven.
those names are coming back to me, Stamen and yeah,
Yeah,
those.
it's very much connected with goddess Kali and all that, of this thing of made of hibiscus flowers.
Right.
Mala, a garland made. Anyway,
Okay.
I'll stop sharing so I can.
Thank you. So what's that called in Hindi? Do you know?
आपने तो मुझे डाल दिया संकट में हिंदी हिंदी बंगाली में जॉबा बोलते हैं बंगाली में जॉबा हिंदी
Java.
में भी जबा ही बोलते होंगे मेरे ख्याल से आई डोंट नो हिबिस्कस इन हिंदी एंड डॉक्टर गूगल टू द रेस्क्यू
Yeah.
हिबिस्कस फूल को हिंदी में क्या कहते हैं या जबा कुसुम ये इसका पूरा
Java.
नाम है हिंदी बंगाली में भी जबा कुसुम इसको कहते हैं गुड़हल या जबा कुसुम
Acha. Okay.
हाँ
Thank
जबा
you.
कुसुम हाँ
So I'm going to ask another question. You may not, Tulsi should be here for this. So do you know the like Tamil name? Because I often I order flowers from a gentleman who is South Indian. And so all their names are in like some South Indian language, which I assume is Tamil. So I wonder if I can get hibiscus from them, but I wouldn't know the name though. I know there's something called Avril or something. No, Arali. I don't know if that's the same or not.
I've got it's I can't easily find the Tamil in Google actually.
So
Yeah,
in Lalita
Sembaruti Pupayangal, but I may be wrong. I am not even
okay,
trying to.
thank you. Morning, Sapna. Good to see you. So say that again, please. What's the name? You think?
Um, I'm not. Give me one more second whilst you are doing it. What's the common name for hibiscus? Well, Chinese hibiscus in English, shoe black plant, etc. Blah blah blah. In Tamil, what's it called? Uh, the problem is it's written in Tamil. so,
Oh, okay.
so that's the problem for me. Yeah.
Hibiscus.
Hibiscus. That.
Hibiscus.
No, sorry.
Who's speaking?
No, that is that's the computer calling
Oh,
hibiscus and
I see. Sapna, are you trying to, I think you're muted, Sapna. Let me ask you to unmute. Good morning, Kanchan.
This is Tamil. Semparuti. Semparati.
Brilliant, thank you. Okay, I can try and memorize it and say that.
Sembaruti.
Sapna, can you try and say something? Oh, no. Last time I think you joined with 2 devices, didn't you? It's lovely to hear you when we can. Good morning, Kanchan. How are you? Give her a moment. So when we're going to do the meditation, we do it in Sanskrit, then we do it in English translation. It's just a couple of minutes or so. So in the Sanskrit, it's quoted as Japa Kusam Basuram, and Japa Vidho Smara. I could be pronounced. Apologies if my pronunciation isn't right. Vidhu Smara Thembikam. So I think it's the Japa Kusum that I'm meditating on her, who is the red color of the red hibiscus, essentially. So thank you to Devashish who just showed us the red hibiscus. Sapna, did you see it? Kanchan, can you hear me? Sapna saw it. Brilliant. Good morning, Kanchan. Probably just setting it up. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll just play the meditation. Okay, just find it in all my things I've got open. Okay, yeah. So I need to share the screen. Apologies, I'm going to just do it again.
Can't hear you. You're muted, I think.
Sorry, just one minute. Apologies, I had a few screens open, prepared for today, and I couldn't find the one with the video, and I could hear this meditation, but I couldn't see it. Right, found it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the screen. And then, as usual, we'll do the meditation in Sanskrit first, which includes the hibiscus, just for a couple of minutes.
Saumyam ratnakatastharaktacharanam dhyayet paramambikam dhyayet padmasanastham vikasitavadanam padmapatrayatakshim hemabham pitavastram karakalitalasadhema padmambarangim sarvalankarayuktam satatamabhayatam bhaktanamram bhavanim Shri Vidyam Shantamurtim Sakarasuranutam Sarvasampatpradatrim Sakumkumavilepanamavilekachumbikasturikam Samandahasite Kshanam Sasharachapapashankusham Asheshajanamohini Marunamalya Bhusham Varam Japakusumabhasuram Japapidhu Smaredam Vikam Arunaham Karunatarangidakshim Dritapashankushapushpabana Chapam Animadipiravratam Mayukhairahabityeva Vibhavaye Bhavani.
And now what we'll do is we'll do the same meditation with the English translation.
Yeah, he did say Javakusum.
Yes, yeah. So it's that not literally focusing on the hibiscus, but that she's the color of hibiscus.
Yes.
And so I was actually researching why do we, actually maybe we can discuss this for 2 minutes. I'll just stop sharing. I was trying to research why with Mata Rani Ji or Devi Shakti we associate red. So does anyone have any thoughts on that or any knowledge?
Red is powerful, red is sort of fiery. Red is, I don't know.
Sapna says power as well.
It's interesting that red isn't just the color that we do Mataji as well. The Chinese also use it during, it's always a red envelope that they pass money over with.
Yeah, red is viewed as very sacred, isn't it? And as everyone said, powerful as well. And yeah, it's across different cultures.
Red is fire, red
Fire.
red is.
It's also apparently bliss. It represents bliss as well, the ultimate bliss. Good morning. Red can also be love. Yes, absolutely. And I guess these are pardon?
Your screen froze for a moment.
You froze for us for a minute.
Oh, okay. Is it okay now?
5 seconds, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was saying that I guess these are all ways that with power, with strength, with bliss, all of these, and sacredness. Yeah. I'm just going to play the meditation in English.
So we again meditate upon Sri Lalita Mahatripura Sundari, the playful beauty of all the worlds, who is our own consciousness. Like last time, I ask you to join me in the journey to Sudha Sagara, which means the ocean of nectar, which is in our own heart and is the residence of the playful Lalita Devi. You can relax and close your eyes. And within your heart, there is this infinite expanse of nectar, nectar being white, pure white, mixed with all the colors of the rainbow. The white represents the pure absolute wisdom, whereas the many colors represent the many experiences of the world, the infinite karmas, infinite activities, infinite worlds that come into being. And all these are never separate from absolute wisdom. This ocean of nectar extends infinitely before you, infinitely behind you, infinitely to your right, infinitely to your left. And in the center, there is the jewel island, Manidvipa, an island made of living jewels, not dead jewels, but living jewels. And on this island, there is the sacred forest of hibiscus trees. representing pure bliss. And in the center of that is the sacred lotus lake, representing absolute knowledge. And in the center of that is the Shri Yantra or Shri Chakra in the form of a palace. It has 9 layers, 9 doorways that need to be passed through to reach the innermost sanctum sanctorum, the innermost residence of the goddess who is our own consciousness. In these 9 layers, there are many, many different powers and abilities of pure consciousness. They are expressed in the form of different names, different goddesses. But they are all forms of the one goddess. So we gently let our mind enter the center of this mandala, of this beautiful structure known as the Shri Chakra mandala. We come to the very center, and there, resting upon a lion throne, upon whom Shiva, the absolute reality, absolute existence, is resting, seated in a posture of royal ease, is Lalita, shining like 1,000 morning suns. I now continue with the explanation.
So just let everyone connect for a couple more minutes. And just a reminder that when we're connecting to Lalita Devi, we're actually connecting to who we really are, our true nature. So out of the worldly commitments, worldly trouble, suffering, and into this place where we really exist and we can observe everything, where we're far away from all of these. Okay. Gunjan just said she'll be back in just a moment. Right, so what I'll do is I'll just quickly remind everyone, we won't go through all of them, but just a reminder of the names that we have covered. And I think Devashish, you weren't able to join just last week, is that right? You were on holiday, just literally, he's been very regular. And last week we had huge discussion, like lots. I had to, in the end, I thought of you and said, I have to cover some more names today, otherwise we won't get through anything. So, but I think on one name, there was so much discussion, it was amazing. It's really nice though, because I think Jitenji, you were just saying as well that you find that helpful.
Yeah, I think it's, I love these discussions because you go into a lot more depth with peers rather than going through it with a priest who's going to dictate it to you. You've got a chance to analyze it your own way.
I guess it's like you were saying earlier that everyone has their own interpretations. So it's good to have teachers, but ultimately, like in any field of life, teachers can only take us to a certain distance. After that, we have to then question to make it our own. And then, you know, like I'm thinking even in medicine, lots of people have taught me, but now I do my own thing. But I can only do my own thing because I was taught first. But now I have to take it to the next level myself. And then, as Devashish knows as well, then we teach as well, like take it to a whole different level. I think they say to really grasp something, is it you have to see one, do one, and then teach one. I think that's the way you actually embody it. Kanchan's back, brilliant. So I'm just going to put in chat the names that we've covered so far. The gap is not significant. So we've covered Shri Mata, Mother, Shri Maharajni, Ruler, Shrimat Simha Sanishwari, so sitting on the lion, essentially ruling, Chidagnikund Sambhuta, so coming out of the Agnikund, the fire, Devkarya Samudhyata, so one who's helping the Devtas to achieve their goals, and Udyat Bhanu Sahasrabha, so Sahasrabha, so one who glitters like 1,000 suns. So I'm just thinking as a quick recap, maybe we can just start with the last one. So Udyat Bhanu Sahasrabha, so one who glitters like 1,000 suns, and that's actually in the meditation as well. So I'm just wondering if anyone has any thoughts about what that can mean and symbolically, because obviously all this is symbolism for who we really are. And does anyone have any thoughts about that?
I would say that when in the terminology of shining or light is the opposite to so we have our prayer asatoma satgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya. So when you have in your ignorance, please be the light in my ignorance, so it brightens things up. So it's very common in our scriptures to have this. And I think it's maybe to do with a lot to do with ignorance, or somebody who is so bright there is no ignorance whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. So shining the light over the darkness of ignorance. So awakening and consciousness, because who we really are is the most bright, awake part that is not ignorant. There's no ignorance there. So absolutely. I'm just a request. This isn't, I'm not insisting, but just a request, if anyone's able to turn on your videos as well, anyone else, that would be great. It just feels more like a social thing. We're all interacting with each other, but if you can't, that's absolutely fine.
Definitely, Devika, not on Sunday morning, sorry.
No problem. I appreciate your honesty and I appreciate your presence as well. I'm glad you've joined. And just to say, Kanchan started dance classes yesterday. And so how did that go? That went well?
Yeah, it was good. Nice. Everybody just came and we enjoyed a lot.
Brilliant. If anyone's interested, is it just for women or anyone?
Everyone.
Okay.
Even kids were there. And
Right.
yeah, men, whoever willing to join.
Oh,
It's
great.
more of like a body fitness.
Okay, nice. It's a good way to socialize and get fit at the same time.
Exactly. And have fun with Bollywood songs. That's what I like, actually.
And so, you know, Lalita Devi is all about enjoyment as well. So it's about allowing, and we're going to come to that, I think it's in the next name. So just a bit more about the 1,000 suns. So like Jitenji just said about overpowering ignorance. And, you know, if we're in a room of darkness, just one little bit of light and illumines the whole room. You don't need, basically light is more powerful than darkness. We don't have to fight the darkness, we just illuminate things. And then also rising suns are often red. Yeah. So again, we've got the red theme again. You know, when the sun rises, it's usually bright red, especially I know in India, it's like really magnificent. And then I'm just wondering, in the Bhagavad Gita, there's let me just see, there's chapter 6, seeing which shlok this is, verse 3. Apologies, I actually got it out in advance and now I've realized I've lost the one I wanted to share. Let me just see. Yeah, found it. Chapter 6, verse 5. So, Udharedatmanatmanam natmanam vasadet atmeva hyatmano bandhuratmeva ripuratmana. Let a person lift themselves by themselves. Let them not degrade themselves. For them, it says himself, I'm sure it's like whoever, himself is his friend and he himself is his enemy. So essentially what that means is that we need to lift ourselves. Say if somebody is experiencing depression, for example, what the Bhagavad Gita says is don't put yourself down, because often in depression people start criticizing themselves. Instead, lift yourself out, because we ourselves become our best friends, but we ourselves can become our biggest enemies as well. We have the power of lifting ourselves up or degrading ourselves. So Krishna is saying, do not degrade yourself, only lift yourself up, but do it by yourself, not from other people. Because we often seek approval from others. That's just the way we're conditioned in society, but do it ourselves and not by external sources. And so, and I associate that with the rising suns as well, and the illumination, that we can illumine ourselves. It doesn't matter if we're going through a bad time or we're feeling bad, wake up in a bad mood or whatever, dark mood, we can illuminate. And the answer is by connecting with Lalita Devi. That's one way to illuminate ourselves. Does anyone have any thoughts on that?
Sounds good.
Probably easy to do or hard, difficult.
Nothing in life is easy. You've got to have that dedication and perseverance.
And I think that's where it comes, this thing about doing things without worrying or depending on the consequences. So if we keep doing it, if we look from a neuroscience point of view, eventually there will be new neural pathways in our brains, but they won't happen the same day. It takes at least 30 days or something. So we have to, those 30 days are the hard part, where our existing neural pathways are saying, do the old habits, but we're still doing the new habits, bypassing them. Yes. And that's the difficult part. But if we can keep through that, which I guess they say the time of willpower, then we can develop new habits. So they say, if we do the same thing, if we all met every single day at 10 o'clock to do Lalita Sahasranama for 30 days, on the 31st day, apparently, we'd just automatically sit down and start doing this. We'd miss it. We would crave it. So whether it's helpful for us or unhelpful, if we do something every single day for 30 days, we will, in theory, automatically start doing it on the 31st day. So we do have power, but it's hard, it's difficult. Right, now the next name is, I'm going to get it. I'm going to put it in chat. Chatur Bahu Samanvidha. Does anyone have any ideas or thoughts what that might mean?
Chatur.
Is it Chatur, forearms?
Yeah.
Bahubali, forearms.
Yeah, that's what I only understand with Bahubali.
Yeah.
Bahu.
And obviously that can have lots and lots of meanings. I can tell you what Acharya Vidyabhaskari's view is based on the Rishi's text that he studied on what this represents, but obviously it's all open to interpretation. So I'm just wondering what people might think that means here symbolically when we're talking about our true nature or Lalita Devi. forearms? Any ideas? What they could represent?
The forearms comes a lot. We also get the 4 directions, the 4 heads of Brahma. Number 4, it does come a lot, but why specifically forearms?
Yeah. So according to the text by the Maharishi that Acharya Vidyabhaskar has studied, according to that, one interpretation is that the 4 pillars of dharma, arth, kam, and moksha. And that's one way that each represents, and that they're all important. So we need to have all of these. So could somebody just quickly say what you might think of dharma, by what that means?
So yeah, dharma would be our duty. If depending on the translation that you're reading, for example, there are some misguided translations which say religion, but again, like I said earlier, that's from the 1960s or 50s or whenever it was written, which wouldn't, I don't think people knew what dharma meant back then. But yeah, so if you're a teacher, your dharma is to teach. If you're a mother, it's to do motherly things, those fatherly things.
Yeah.
Nowadays, that could be, I think back then as well, it could go either way. So yeah, that's what I think.
So like your role or occupation and so on. I think Devashish, you were trying to say something?
No, I was agreeing.
So yeah.
We also have what the role that we spoke about last week, where we said compassion. So that's always, I personally feel that's always there for a normal person. I'm up to a certain limit.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, according to our true nature, compassion should be, it's who we are. And if we go in the meditation away from all the worldly things, that our true nature is of compassion. And Kancha and Sapna, anyone like to contribute, please feel free. I know Sapna's struggling with the sound, but chat.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes I need a 4 hands as well. There's a lot of work to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe it goes back to power again. And, again, this is what we're aspiring to, and this is who we really are. However, we do live in the worldly, conditions, and it's very different if we go into a mountain and meditate, and that's all we ever do. And we live in an ashram and we're provided with food, and everyone around us is also doing the same thing. That is so different, than living in society and having a family and looking after them and earning money.
Concentrate on what you're doing, so it's more effective.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's very, very different to do this, have this, be on this path while being in society. And everyone around you is not necessarily following any of this, and it's very, very, it's much harder. And I think of Buddha, he left his family and went to a forest, and if we do go to an ashram or something, you have that sangha, you have everyone around you doing exactly the same thing. So it's very, very different. So that's why they say these kind of gatherings like we're doing now are so important, so that we can try and inject some of this into our daily lives, because on our own it can be even harder. So dharma is, yes, about following what's our role, what's our occupation, and that can change from time to time as well. And I guess what Kanchan's saying is we have lots of them in a way right now. Then arth, does anyone know what that means?
Like is a meaning, you're saying, or it is meaning?
Yeah, so in this, I know in Hindi that's normally what it means, but in this context it has a slightly different meaning. When we talk about dharma, artha, kama, moksha, it essentially means growth. So for example, it could be financial, economic growth, and which is also important. It's not the most important thing, but it's one of the pillars to have that kind of stability and growth and financial stability. Essentially, money isn't everything, but money is a vehicle to achieve other things, and that's important as well. Then And then I guess, again, if you're going into a village, mountain or an ashram or something, then you're being taken care of money-wise, or you rely on dakshina or something. So just thinking whichever society you're living in, all these 4 pillars are applicable. Then another one is calm. Does anyone know what that means in this context?
Normally the word karma means lust, or you have calm dev, procreation, creating life.
So in this context, I guess this Maharishi referred to it as love, and saying that, and took it to mean love and enjoyment. I mean, and I guess, again, having children is part of certain societies. Again, if some people choose not to do that, they're going to mountains and whatever. But in, like, I'm sure when Kanchan was talking about responsibilities, talking about children as well. And but in this this particular Maharishi, he referred it to it more as an embodiment of love and enjoyment as well. And so that's what I meant. Lalita Devi talks about, yeah, it's important to do your duty and your occupation, fulfill your role. It's important to make sure you're growing and you've got financial stability, but not to the expense of love and enjoyment. You have to, and love starts with yourself first. So taking care of yourself first, so that you're equipped to take care of other people, enjoying life. So essentially saying it's not in our faith or not in our teachings to work from early morning till late night just to earn money and never be able to spend it, essentially. It's also important, yeah, it's important to have the money, but it's also important to enjoy the money. And I love that, because I'm into meditation and things, and sometimes it can all feel a bit grey and like very simple and everything. But Lalita Devi saying, no, just enjoy life. If you're going to make fancy offerings, foods to offer to me, eat them yourself. If you're going to dress me up in fancy outfits, wear fancy outfits yourself. So, however, the last one is very relevant. Moksha. What does that mean?
Moksha would mean liberation, right?
Salvation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a liberation, salvation. So what she's saying is, yes, enjoy yourself, earn money, do your role. However, don't be attached to anything. So yeah, you can dress up in fancy clothes, you can eat fancy food, but if you don't get it, you're still okay. Your identity is not dependent on these. Your worth is not dependent on these. You can live in a family, you can live in society, you can have fun with other people, earn money, have an occupation, but none of it defines who you are. Who you are is when we're in that meditation away from all of this. So you're not attached to any of it. You're not dependent on any of it. If it comes, fine, enjoy. If it doesn't, that's okay as well. Because in this world, nothing is permanent. So enjoy it while it's here, but be ready that it's going to go. And that can be taken a step further to our emotions as well. So if we're feeling good, if we're feeling happy, then yeah, enjoy it. And dwell on the happiness, but don't cling to it. Be ready that it's going to go. So that similarly, when we feel unpleasant emotions, yeah, comfort yourself that you're suffering, but know it's going to go. It's not going to last forever as well. So joy doesn't last forever, nor does suffering. And we all live with so many people. We're all on this world right now together, but 200 years ago, there were different people, and 200 years later, there will be different people, and we'll probably all go at different times. We all came at different times. We'll probably go at different times. So even with our family members, we all arrived, we're with those families in this lifetime, if you believe in different lifetimes. And, but we all came at different times into the families, and we'll all leave at different times as well, probably. So Sapna said, how do you create that sense of detachment? Brilliant question. Does anyone have any thoughts on that first?
Yeah, I mean, in our Dharma, we have several different, I've forgotten the word right now. Normally I'm quite good at remembering words, but sanskars. We have different sanskars, 16 sanskars. One of them is getting your head shaved at a young age. I don't know if I know in some cultures or some fellowships, women also shave their heads, but yeah, shaving your head from a very young age is you are learning to let go of your attachment to your looks. So when you always see a child who's, when they get in the haircut, they cry, and they cry a lot. And usually it's because they love their hair so much.
Yeah.
Then we also have Gautam Buddha, who teaches another way of detachment, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, a Mundan Sanskar. And yeah, I've got photos of me screaming my head off during that. I'm really upset. And, but I guess I didn't understand the meaning behind it. As far as I was concerned, just some random guys taking off all my hair when I'm 2 years old or something. But yeah, okay. And yes, and I guess in terms of our emotions and things, one way also, like, so Gautam Buddha, like you referred to, he would say that just to view, one thing is that we all suffer, so that we are all together in this. So suffering doesn't become personal, and similarly joy, everyone experiences joy, that doesn't become personal. So nothing is about me, it's just what all human or all beings experience. All beings will experience all emotions. It's not about me personally. So it becomes like, not I am anxious or my anxiety, it's the anxiety of humanity. Or not my depression or my sadness, it's the sadness. Or not my joy, it's the joy. And bless you.
Sorry.
And another thing is that I was going to say it's probably the flowers behind you, because I'm experiencing hay fever. So and I guess Sapna, another thing I'm thinking is, often, I wish Sapna we could hear you right now, that would be amazing. But basically, okay, so everyone, you're looking at your devices, right? You can see your devices. So are you your device? No. So similarly, Kanchan.
No, I said, yeah, that's fine, I can see.
So similarly, if we can see our thoughts, if we are the ones feeling our feelings, if we're the one thinking thoughts, are we our thoughts? Are we our feelings? Because if you were, because often people say, I am my, people identify with their thoughts, they identify with their feelings. But I guess what I'm saying is, if you're the one who's thinking your thoughts, if you're the one who's feeling your feelings, who's the one who's doing the thinking? Who's the one who's doing the feeling?
You are. If you are the one who's thinking it, you're the.
Yeah. So that's one who's actually doing the thinking, that one who's doing the feeling is not the feelings and thoughts, that's someone else. That's who we really, that's like ourself, that's our consciousness, Lalita Devi, whatever name you want to give. That self is viewed in our scriptures as united amongst all beings. It's not just mine, for example. The one that's looking at my thoughts isn't just me. It's the same in Jitenji, it's the same in Devashish, it's the same in Sapna, same in Kanchan, same in Lalita Devi. It's the same across the universe. We're all one collection. And so that can help us have some detachment, because then I could say, okay, rather than say if I'm feeling anxious, so rather than, oh, I feel really anxious, and get into my thinking, oh, I'm really worried, what if, say, I'm going to get a train and I'm going to be late, oh no. Instead of identifying with all that and feeling the physiological reactions to my adrenaline rising, cortisol, so my heart rate starts increasing, I start breathing faster and think, oh, I'm so scared, this is awful, I'm going to miss my train. Instead, I can take a few deep breaths, stand back and say, okay, anxiety is here. The feeling of anxiety that all human beings experience from time to time is here. And how can I feel it right now? Okay. Yeah, my heart rate's increasing. Okay, I'm observing that my heart rate's increasing. I'm observing that the feeling of anxiety is here. I'm not anxious. I am the one who's observing the feeling. I'm the one who's feeling the feeling. Okay, I'm getting thoughts. I'm noticing that I'm getting thoughts that I might miss my train. Okay, I'm observing. I'm not the one, I'm not believing them, but I'm observing that I'm getting these thoughts. And now, can I give myself comfort for the fact that I'm suffering? Because yeah, it's normal, but it's not nice. Just like loads of people get the flu, but it's not nice. So similarly, it's not nice. Like, what can I do to help myself right now? Is it just to take a few deep breaths? Is it to go for a walk? Is it to ask for help in getting to the train station? What is it that I need right now that would really help me with love and kindness, not in a critical way? So that's one way to just kind of, and which is essentially mindfulness. And it's not easy. You can train, and this meditation is what this is, achieves this as well. Meditation is a way of training to do this. Okay, I'm the one who's observing everything. I'm not any of these things. I'm just observing all of them, but not observing them like with a telescope, but observing them with love. So almost like a grandmother or something, I envisage, who just says, you know what, everyone, naughty children, lovely children, everyone, I just love all of you. You just come here, I'm going to give you a big hug and just hold you all. But I'm not affected. I'm above all of this. I'm beyond all of this. And
it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, definitely. And this is why I think there are 1,000 names for us to go through, because it takes that much time to even get anywhere near it. And this is why meditation is so valuable. And for anyone who doesn't meditate, you can also do this in a, like, practice training your brain in a similar way, in easier ways. Like if you're going for a walk or even in a room, you can connect to your senses. So again, not attaching to your senses, but just observing them. So saying, okay, so maybe set a timer on your phone for 5 minutes. And if you're in the garden or out for a walk or at home, okay, take a deep breath. What can I hear right now? And not thinking about what you're hearing, but literally hearing. What can I feel right now? Maybe in your feet when you're walking. What can I see right now? Again, not thinking about it, literally seeing it. So like Devash's photo, I would just see there's something red. Because my mind tells me it's a flower, so I want to get away from my mind. I can see it. Literally, I'm seeing it. So actually just calling it red is, again, my mind. I just want to get into...
You've frozen again. Devika ji, you've frozen completely, I think.
She's made a point and Devika, you're frozen.
Hello?
Hello, hello.
Hello?
Can't hear you.
I think she's had to log out and log back in.
You can't hear you. We can't hear you.
I think she can't hear us either.
You can't hear us. Me now. We can't hear you, Devika. You went away for a while and now we can't hear you.
Hello?
Ah, yes, yes, yes. Go on.
I think she's just left the video.
Yeah, it must be logging in.
Must be an issue. Sometimes, as always, Zoom decides to update whilst you're in the middle of a meeting, which can happen actually.
Yes, yes.
Is my speaker working?
We can hear you.
Can you really hear me?
I just heard somebody, yes.
Oh, great. Finally.
That's Sapna. Yeah,
Right. You sound similar.
I think Devika has left the call. She might be logging back in, as Jiten is saying. And oh yeah, that's Devika back. Oh,
Can you hear
back.
me?
Yeah. Back.
So sorry. So I just thought that's a great opportunity. So I felt anxiety, And my head started saying, oh, this is really awful. This is really bad. And the recording's going to look really bad. And everyone's waiting for you. And we're nearly at the hour anyway. So I thought, okay, so one thing is I could stop feeling it all. Another is I could say, okay, I'm still going to feel it, but I'm not it. You know, I'm feeling it. I'm allowed. One is I'm resisting it. Oh, this is awful. And I'm really enveloped in it. And another is that I'm just like, okay, it's here. Everyone feels this way. This could happen to anyone. It's not just me. Yeah, anxiety is here because there's no point fighting it. It's here. Anxiety, the feeling of anxiety is here. I'm feeling it like in the pit of my stomach. There's waves. Yeah, my head's like really beating me up. Okay, welcome. It's okay. You can be here with love. You can be here with love. And then I can be with myself with love and say, you know what? This can happen to anyone. It's okay. We'll be okay. We'll join. They're all friends. We'll join back. Now, it's really hard to do. It's not always possible, but the more and more we can do it, the easier it becomes. And so it's about holding whatever's here with kindness. So when I said tuning into what's going on around us is with kindness. So if, say, you're out for a walk and a bulldozer starts like making a noise or something, it's again, okay, no judgment, because that's the mind again. We want to get away from the mind. Again, okay, I'm just hearing a bulldozer. I'm noticing that I'm finding it that irritation is arising in me. So just welcoming everything with love. And then, oh, it must be awful for me. Yeah, giving myself some kindness. So that's one way of detaching from everything. But yeah, loads of practice, lots and lots of practice. And I guess supporting each other through it, because it's probably the hardest thing, one of the hardest things we can do in life. And that's why, as I said, it's still hard if you're in a mountain away from society, but if you're in society, it's way harder. And Buddha spent like his whole lifetime practicing it in forests and things with lots and lots of people who did the same thing as him. Any comments or questions at the moment before we finish soon? Let me just have a look. So maybe let's just quickly do one more, just because I want to feel that we're getting through some things. The discussion is amazing. So this one is Rag Swarup Pasadya. I'm going to say it could be Pasadya, but I mean, so does anyone have any idea what that might mean? I don't think I would have if I hadn't studied it.
Yeah, so rag is the term for a scale, which is heptatonic in classical Indian traditions, or classical, I would say classical Hindustani traditions. It's also, the heptatonic scale is also the same scale that is in China, but here we have pentatonic scale, which only has 5 notes, which is quite important. But yeah, the rag constantly changes depending on the scale that you need to play. So it's not as simple as playing Sare Gama Padhani. You could have a minor or a major, or the frequencies change slightly depending on the particular scale that you're playing, which I think is quite relevant.
Absolutely. And so what I'm finding fascinating is, so I'm going to have to look at the Sanskrit, whether it's rag or raga, or what exactly it is, because the Acharya-ji actually has referred to it as anger, and so it's a bit different. Sorry, no, not anger. No. Love. Sorry, say that again.
Love, I think.
Love. Thank you. Yeah, love. So I'm gonna have. So Devashish, is that pronounced differently than the music rag?
I don't know. I just Googled it.
So we'll have to. So I'll have to go and have a look. But I love the meaning that Jitenji gave as well, because that would be.
Yeah. I mean, it's spelled differently in English, R-A-G-H-A. So instead of R-A-G-A, raga. But rag, interestingly, in Bengali is anger.
Right. Okay. That's
rag. To do rag means to be angry.
That's really fascinating. Okay, leave that one with me.
And Bengali got that Sanskrit sort of, So being Rag or Ragi. He's an angry person. So
Right.
he has done Rag Koreche. He is angry.
Right. Thank you. So we've got 3 possible meanings here. I'm going to leave that with me. That's my homework till next week.
Yeah.
I'll have a look. And anyone else is welcome to as well if you like. Shall we? I know it's past 11. Shall we end there? Does that seem okay?
Good.
Okay then. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for helping me do this as well. And namaste and see you soon.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Namaste.
Bye.